Who?
My. I've never seen her really get into it before. Oh my god, she's rolling around.
Where is she?
She's on my desk. She just attacked her own tail. It's so cute.
I hope they're getting something out of it, because wow, that's really potent today. Little doesn't seem to care for it that much. All right. Who's meowing?
Ed, Ed, hop down. Come on. Don't harsh the vibe. Here, Ed.
All right, you guys. It's Art Friday. Sorry about no stream yesterday. I was not feeling well. To be perfectly honest, I still feel kind of meh, but that could be my allergies at this point. It's been a rough couple of days. I'm not sure if they cut hay. It kind of feels like they did. But I've been like terribly dry and just in pain in my sinuses. So I was like, yeah, no, we're not doing that yesterday. But we're here today, and I'm just kind of stuffy and just bleh. So we can do this. All right. So this is where we're at so far in the wide shot, and we're making progress. Slower progress, but we're making progress. It takes time to do all the little circle do's. So yeah, we still have a few little circular things to get going in here, and here, and down in here. I didn't get any more brown tissue paper twisted, so we're just gonna have to wing it, and we'll twist it as we need to today. So let's zoom in for where we're working on today. So that we can get a better look at where we're at. Alright, so we're gonna be about in there. Sorry, this camera, the image quality is better, but it doesn't have zoom functions. So I have to adjust the zoom rate on OBS. So I can't just like zoom in. I wish I could marry the zoom capabilities that were on the other camera to the image quality on this camera. That would be fantastic. But I don't have the money to throw at another new camera, because I think to get something that has all of the functions I want, it's going to be like $80 minimum. And I don't have that right now, so this is what we're going to do. So apologies, but we got to work with what we've got, right? So that's how it is. Don't forget to load up your own music for today. That way you can listen to all of the things that you enjoy. And I don't have to worry about getting DMCA'd, which is always a good thing. So I did put a poll up on Twitter a little bit ago, asking what you guys would rather see next week. Our weather forecast is looking kind of iffy for Bloodthirsty, and I'm kind of behind at the moment, so I don't know if I'm gonna have everybody ready. I only have one ready for next week. So I'm kind of like, oh, I don't know if we're gonna be able to pull this off. I think we got a little glue happy there. Maybe not. We'll let that set for a second. Yeah, so we're just like in a forecast of 2 weeks of 40% thunderstorms, and of course Wednesday is like 50% chance of thunderstorms, and like every day I'm looking at, well, I'm like, well, maybe we can move Bloodthirsty here. Nope, thunderstorm chance. Like hardcore thunderstorm chance. I was like, okay. Well, that's not gonna work, and I don't want to risk playing the Bloodthirsties when it's storming. And if it's gonna be storming leading up to Wednesday, I'm not gonna have time to get them all done. So, because I don't like playing them when it's storming, whether I'm getting them ready for stream or whether it's stream time itself. So, yeah. So, I put some options up on the poll. I think I did more art as an option, Planet Zoo, Stardew Valley, or No Place Like Home. So we've got a few options up there. If we do Stardew Valley, it'll be a new playthrough. So that way we're not just jumping into an old map that it's been forever since we've seen. So been kind of wanting to pop back into that, at the very least for YouTube, but I just haven't had the time. Like, I think of these things at like 2 in the morning. I'm like, oh yeah, we should do this. But I don't really have a consistent hard stop time, I'm going to bed now type thing, so. And there's like only a couple of days that I can work on stuff that's not WoW for the stream and keep the stream schedule. I don't think you guys understand how much time is actually involved in prepping for Bloodthirsty. It's a lot. It's like days of prep. So just to be able for you guys to see a couple of characters, ding. Okay, well that didn't sit the way I wanted it to, but that's alright. There's going to be sections that have multi-layers, so that's going to be a section that has a multi-layer, that's all. And we're going to give it a multi-layer because I don't know where the leaves of the tree are going to sit, so just to make sure it's not an issue when we come back to do the leaves. That's how we're going to handle it. So hope everybody's having a good Friday. Or as good of a Friday as you can. I know it's been tough for a lot of people lately. It's been tough for me lately. Just trying to keep pushing forward. And what comes, comes. Kind of thing. Every day when the mail comes, I'm like holding my breath. I'm like, did we get anything from Social Security about Russell's application? So, still nothing yet. I keep hoping we'll hear something early, but more often than not, it's probably going to be past when we should hear something. But we'll see. Every time I think we've got a handle on things, something else decides to go off. So it's like, oh good. Thanks. Like I didn't have enough going on right now. All right. So we're just gonna keep making our circles from last week. We don't have too much more to fill in circle-wise, at least on this first layer. And we've already gone back and done most of the second layer areas. So, once we get the sky done, it will be time to revisit our trees here in this area. I still haven't decided how I want to handle this bush line. I mean, we could go... We can handle it a couple different ways. To be perfectly honest, we could go with, we could go with little paper balls. We could go with just the paper being smushed in. Like we have in other spots. Sorry, I felt like I had an ant crawling on my leg. Then when I went to go look down, I didn't see it. I hate that sensation. Because every so often, we have ants. Yay for this area and all of the things wanting to get inside. Between flies and ants and mice and cats caught a baby mouse the other night or the other morning. And I woke up to them fussing with it. I was like, oh. And I couldn't handle touching it. I had to barricade it. It was very much dead though. I had to barricade it under a bucket and weigh it down until the husband got home. And I'm like, please do something with the gift that the cats brought you, because it was under his computer chair. He's like, they brought me a gift. I was like, yes, do something with it, please. He's like, what do you? And then I showed him and he's like, oh, right. like, they gifted you. Like, I know this is sticking up a little bit. It's fine. Because when we do the Mod Podge, everything is going to get squished back down. Just need to get the glue to work its way down out of the bottle. I'm actually surprised I'm still on the same bottle of glue. I would have thought that I would have been on a different bottle at this point, because I'm actually working on another project with this same bottle of glue that's much larger than this, for a video for YouTube, and we've used quite a lot of glue on that one. Quite a lot. And I do have another bottle ready to go. It's just I haven't needed it yet. So we are getting quite the mileage out of the Tacky Glue. It probably helps that we're spreading it out with the brush. Just rinsing the glue out of my brush. I got scared last night. I thought I had locked my PC up. I thought it was imploding. I was like, oh no, what is happening? Like, nothing would cooperate. Like, I couldn't even get it to shut down. I couldn't get Task Manager to come up. And I was in the middle of doing something on the WoW Challenges website. I was like, oh god, I just lost the entire thing. I couldn't get, like Chrome just wouldn't cooperate. Nothing would cooperate. I'm like, what just happened? But there was a Windows update, and I was like, oh, of course. I was like, Windows update. Did you do this? Is this all of your fault? But, husband's like, have you updated Office, Libra at all? I was like, I was like, you gave it to me. You put it on my computer. And that was the end of it. And he's like, okay. He's like, I'll look at your stuff in the morning and see what needs to be updated. I was like, alright. So, he had to, I was actually gonna start sooner, but I was so out of it when I woke up. I'm still not quite with it. As you can tell, there's not as much energy today. I'm still very, very tired. He looked through it and he's like, okay. He goes, we need to update some drive. Oh, damn it. He's like, we need to update some drivers and some things. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, what are you updating? He goes, your graphics driver. And he updated something else. I don't remember what. My processor driver, I think. So, hopefully that doesn't happen again. Because I'm like, no. I mean, I know this computer's got a couple years on it, but I was not expecting it to completely lock up like that suddenly. And I'd been noticing some issues if I had two different windows open with YouTube in it, one on each screen, where they would just start buffering even though there was nothing wrong with the stream itself. It was me. So we'll see if that happens again. It didn't happen all the time. It would just periodically happen. So hopefully it's nothing too major. I mean, I have had trouble where I had a stick of RAM go bad, or it was defective when I got the computer, because it didn't really work from the beginning. So we had to send it back to HP, and they had to replace my motherboard because that came to me fried or was failing. And also I had a stick of RAM issue. But we'll see. It's like the warranty just ended in December, so I'm like, oh no. Now would be the time when everything's gonna fail on it. So fingers crossed. It was just drivers that needed to be updated. Hopefully. I have been putting it through its paces with all of the recording that I've been doing off of stream. I did manage to get like the one holy priest ready last night, and I started working on the warlock. I did get her some gear, so we are on the level 60 mobs with her, and she's handling those turtles pretty well, her and the Voidwalker, but I wasn't focused enough on it. I think I got 2 bars in and I'm like, okay, let's be done for the night. I was just too tired. But we'll see how that journey progresses. I almost hopped onto the mage last night, and then I was like, you know what? No. I'm too out of it. Let's not. Because something silly is gonna happen, and then I'm gonna get mad. Okay. So this is probably the part that's the messiest in this. Is the little circles. Because you've got to get your fingers kind of down in the glue. So you're going to get glue on your fingers. It's inevitable. It's going to happen. I prefer to twist the longer ones than the shorter ones, though. The shorter paper snakes are a little bit of a trial to do the little circular shapes with. So I had twisted some pieces that weren't quite the 1 inch by the 1 inch, or 1 by 1.5. They were a little bit haphazardly cut because I was putting them in a different container. So they're a little bit easier to manipulate if they're a little bit bigger. They're not tremendously bigger, but the smaller ones are better for just when you need to do like the straight pieces like we did with the background sky colors. So when my hands are off camera, I'm just making these little circle guys. Not sure if I'm going to be able to show me doing that on camera because they're so tiny. Alright, let's see. So, am I in camera? No, I'm still not in camera. Here we go. Gotta reach way across my desk. Alright, so this is our paper snake. Take the little tiny tip and kind of fold it over on itself and then hold it, and then you're just going to kind of take the tail and wrap it around that little bent piece. And then the little piece of the tail that's left, tuck under, and then kind of drop it in where you want it to be. It's kind of hard because my fingers are fat, and it's I get in my own way, so. Alright, get that in there. And we still have a couple spots up in here on the edge that we need to come back in and fill in. But I want to at least get our main sky sections done before we go back in and do any of the layering up sections. Okay, so just give me 1 second. My glue bottle here is being a little cranky. So, it helps to have a toothpick or like a wooden kitchen skewer that you're not using for food, or toothpick, something that you can use to clear the nozzle on your glue bottle if it gets clogged. So it's good to have one of those handy. And again, you don't need a bottle of glue as big as mine. In fact, you're probably better off not having this gigantic bottle. They do come in much smaller bottles. I just have this for the sheer amount of projects that I was working on. And it was more cost effective for me at the time to just get the larger one. I do want to put a second circle right there, so do that. Now I know I didn't take that all the way down to where the purple is fully by that tree, and that's okay because the tree's gonna end up overlapping that. Like I said before, the color key was just more so to give me an idea of where I needed to be, and it wasn't a end all be all, oh no, you didn't put it there. Type of situation. It's not the end of the world. It's fine. It's okay. I'll tell you, my nails, I've just been picking like everything up lately. I scrub them, I scrape them, and 5 minutes later, they've got all kinds of crap back underneath of them again. But doing art gets messy for me. So we're just gonna have messy nails. That's the way it is. Whew. Like, I know it's 3:30 for me. I feel like it should be so much later. But at the same time, not. When did I go to bed? Oh, when did I go to bed? I think I laid down around 2:30. I don't think I fell asleep till almost 4, I want to say. And then I woke up at 8. Like 8:30. And I was like, oh, it's too early for this. But I had to go to the bathroom so bad. It's like, oh, I'm gonna explode if I don't go pee. So I went to go pee, and then I was just kind of wandering around the bedroom for a few minutes. I'm like, am I up? Do I need to try to do this day of 4 hours of sleep? And body was like, no, I don't want to do this on 4 hours of sleep. So I was like, well, alright, then what do you suggest? And it's like, let's lay back down. So body and I made a deal where if we don't fall back asleep by the time the husband got up, we would be getting up. And I did fall back asleep for a couple of hours. Woke up, husband was up. I was trying to get up then, and then I fell back asleep again for like another hour. When anything involving my head bothers me, I have a really hard time functioning. So sinus problems, migraines, anything happening up there is hard to function with for me. Sorry, I just saw a headline on a video and I'm like, what? Is this real? Okay. So what are you guys doing for the weekend? Anybody have any fun plans? Just chilling at home? I don't think we're doing anything. I think we're staying at home this weekend unless we have to run somewhere. And that's a big only if we have to. Huh?
Is something happening this weekend aside from the fact that I'm a cripple?
No. I was saying I don't think we are doing anything this weekend.
Probably not.
Unless we absolutely positively have to. Husband keeps popping his shoulder. So, and I can only lift so much on my own. I mean, I can lift cases of water if I have to, but I can't get them very high.
Yeah, and doing all, 12 would be a bit much for you.
I mean, I can do it if I need to.
Yeah, but I've seen what happens to you afterwards. I'd rather not.
So, I mean, it's not that I'm completely incapable, it just wrecks me. Or the potential to wreck me is quite there. Alright, so we'll let that chill in that section. Okay, so we need to move these guys to the side for a minute. So I think I need to tip canvas just a little bit after we get the glue to work its way down the bottom. Alright, so we need some sections in there. Just trying to get a better idea of where needs a second layer. Okay. All right. So, I mean, we still need a couple, I think, on this section here, but bless you.
Excuse me. Ow.
Please don't hurt yourself more.
No, no. Good.
Oh. There's an ant in my water cup. Buddy, I don't think you're gonna enjoy that. Because that's water filled with tacky glue. Alright. So. Let's get to getting. And get some of our second layer put in here. No. Cooperate, please. There we go. Didn't want to wrap around itself. And you know, you're gonna have some that aren't gonna be perfect wraparounds. It's gonna happen. It's okay. It's part of what gives it a little bit of personality. Is the imperfections in it. I mean, in the end, the paper's going to do what it wants to do. You can kindly suggest to it to do something else, but in the end, it is just paper. Had to find some longer pieces here. Okay. So if you guys try this, or if you're doing any kind of art, I would love to see it. I don't have an Instagram, but I am on Twitter, so you can go ahead and tag me. That would be fantastic. Love to see what other people are doing. You never know if you'll get inspiration for your own project from something else that someone is working on. I think I need one more in there. I think. Alright. Let's move on to this spot over here. And then we'll just have that last section by this tree or shrub or whatever you want to call it. I guess it's a tree. Let's see. There's a long one. Sorry, I've got like glue skin flaking off, I guess. Kind of wanted to get that off of my finger before diving in with the next round piece. So sometimes when you're doing the second layer, you might have to hold it down for a couple of seconds just to make sure that it is grabbing on and it doesn't decide to unravel on you, because, you know, it can happen. Sometimes you just have to be patient with it. Okay, I'm thinking maybe one more. Kind of connected to the side here in this spot. Well, maybe not. Nope. Really? Okay, maybe we just need one more dot of glue if it decides to grace us with its presence. Come on, glue. There we go. Alright, let's try to rewrap our circle since it came unraveled. Alright, I'm gonna press down on that one for just Just a moment, make sure that's gonna hold there. Alright. Now, let's see here. This section. Don't know if we really need that many in this section. Section hasn't completely solidified yet. Maybe one there, maybe one there. Okay, so I don't think we need many in this spot. I have no idea what happened to the ant that was in my water cup. I don't see him anymore. I don't know if he made it out. Curious. Curiouser and curiouser. Alright, so time to start twisting the next set of paper. And then we will get down to business on these trees. How about that? So I'm trying to figure out, do we need another layer on that tree? Can't remember how many layers we were on. I don't know if that was one layer or two. I feel like it was one, but I honestly don't remember. I know these guys were like three. Or like 3 or 4. I don't think we put that many. On the evergreen. Alright, so I don't know how we're going to do this hedge line. I think I started to say that earlier and I don't think I finished my thought. Oh, thoughts just wander away. Somebody didn't close the gate. So we could do like the smushy, like the trees, or we could do little paper balls. I don't want to do the, I don't want to do the swirls because we've already established them as clouds for this particular piece. So I feel like that would be weird. The smushies are trees. Like the smushed in there is sort of our trees. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, we could try to do the paper balls and see how it looks, and if we don't like it, we could try to rip it out. That is a possibility. Just grabbing another color of our stuff here. We need our greens. Alright. Get our evergreen color. Alright, so let's grab this. Okay. So I did zoom out a bit, just so we can get a better idea of where we're at with this. Alright. Now, is this the color we were using? Was it? Yes. Okay. So we've got this color that we're using. And we've got this color. Blue bottle ASMR. Alright. So we'll get that in there for that color. Probably fill in these other two trees while we're at it. Come on, glue. You can do it. The bottle's not that empty, that's the thing. It's just taking a little bit to get down the bottle. Alright, so I'm just spreading the glue out in the places I have designated these trees are going. And this isn't super thin. You don't want it too thin. If you do it thinner, you're gonna have to work in smaller sections because it'll skin over too quickly on you, and then you're not gonna be able to get it to hold the glue, or to hold the paper, excuse me. Alright, so this color's probably grabbed way too much of this color, but that's what it is, right? So grab your stylus or your toothpick or your paper clip or whatever your pokey piece of choice is gonna be. And just kind of mush your tree leaf section in there. You don't want it super flat. You don't want it smooth. It's supposed to be a tree, so you want it to have some texture. You want it to be wrinkly. It needs to look like tree leaves. or at least give the impression of this is something with foliage on it. Now you might have to do a couple of layers of this to get it to the desired fullness or texture that you're looking for, and that's okay. That is okay. Like, I think these guys were like 4 layers of tissue paper. Just to try to get it to where I was happy with it. Now, if you do want to do multiple layers on your foliage sections, you're going to want the bottom to set up a little bit before you immediately go back in with the next layer. So I would probably, you know, let that sit at least a good 10 minutes, if not longer. And that's if you want another layer. If you don't want another layer, that's fine too. You do as many layers as you want. Alright. Lost where I was. Okay. So let's start working on this guy. Doing the whole smushy thing reminds me of when we were in grades, or when I was in grade school. I don't know if they still do this anymore. Where we would make tissue paper art by putting glue down, and then we would take squares of tissue paper, and then we would wrap it around the end of a pencil, like twist it like really good, and then like stick it in. And it would be like all poofy and stuff. It's like it would be an unsharpened pencil that we would do that with, or like the eraser end. You don't want to use the point, because then the point would poke through on the tissue paper. Let's use this guy here. He's looking kind of sad, kind of lonely. He's already been ripped up once, I think. Let's get get him in there. Don't want him to feel left out. He's definitely needed. You don't have to tear it. I just am, just to make it a little bit easier to move around. Sometimes when you've got the big honking pieces, they soak up more glue than you wanted. And then they get a little unruly, getting smushed into where you want them to be. So I just have an easier time with the smaller pieces. Alrighty. So yeah, we're definitely getting there. We've got the sky done. Working on our tree line. So I'd still like to try the needle felting art at some point, but this will make do until I get the chance to do that. And I don't know how well people are going to handle me streaming the needle felting, because it can get a little loud. Some people use styrofoam, some people use like a sheet of house insulation. You just need something to for the needles to sink into. And the house insulation might actually be less loud than a styrofoam. It might be less messy. Because I know that the styrofoam is probably gonna crumble. So we have a tiny version of what we're trying to accomplish in the bottom corner there. So we're trying to replicate one of the paintings from one of the Bob Ross Joy of Painting tutorials, which was from the Joy of Painting season. The season number escapes me. I want to say it was season 15, episode 7, I think is what it was. I'm sure I will correct it in the description once the VOD gets sent to YouTube if I'm wrong. I think I would have that memorized by now, but I don't. me actually memorizing anything doesn't really work that well. I need notes. Lots and lots of notes. So I might be leaning towards the little paper balls for the shrubbery, because I want to give it a little bit of a different texture, being this close to the tree line. Like, I know it'll be a different color, so maybe the different colors would be enough. For that variation, but to say, hey, this is different, and I want to push the bushes back. So still not completely sure how I want to handle that. Still have a few minutes to think about it. We might just try it and see. Just don't know if that'll give it a little too much of a manicured look. It might. It might. So that, and I don't want this to look manicured. Like if we were doing like a garden with topiaries in it, that would be more, wow, that's a really loud trick. My goodness. Wow. That sucker's humming. Thank you for joining the stream, loud truck. But, like if we were doing like an English garden that's much more manicured and hedge clipped and stuff, maybe that would be a better place for that. But, I don't know. I think I've kind of already made up my mind. I'm just trying to talk myself out of a last minute decision. Last minute change of plans. See, I love the fluffiness here because it makes it feel like we've got layers of leaves and stuff. Now we might lose a little bit of that when we go to seal it, but we wouldn't lose a tremendous amount of it. I will say, these up and down temperatures that we've had lately are killing me. Like, it was in the 40s last night, and now it's like almost 70. Like, what? Can we pick something and go with it? I think I saw, I don't know if it was this Sunday or next Sunday, in the 80s. And I'm like, guys, pick one. Pick one, please. I just can't believe they've got us forecasted for 2 weeks of thunderstorms every day. This isn't Florida. I think they're looking at a tropical system that might be coming into Louisiana and the Panhandle, though. It didn't say if it was going to be a tropical storm, it just said a tropical wave. So maybe not quite tropical depression status. Or they're just not sure what it's going to develop into yet. That might be part of it, because it's going to get drug up into the weather system, or the jet streams that go over us, potentially. I mean, computer models can be wrong. Stuff can change. Which is why I had put the poll up of, I don't know if we're gonna be able to do Bloodthirsty this week. For a number of reasons. As much as I don't want to delay working on everybody. But I also don't want to do something silly and lose a character either. Because then that's gonna delay us quite significantly. Considering I only do a level a week, usually past 15. Most of the time. Alright, I think I need a little bit more glue. Oh yes, this is tissue paper. Sorry, I didn't see your comment there. This is tissue paper, and this is going on stretched canvas. And we're using Tacky Glue to attach it. And the colors that are already down, like this up here is tissue paper. These are tissue paper. The colors are already down is just a reference color that I painted in, so I knew where things were gonna go. But yes, this is tissue paper that I am smushing in here. But I painted my reference photo onto here, just so I didn't have to constantly be trying to find my reference photo and have it pulled up on another screen. It just was easier for me, and then I kind of had an idea of where everything was going to get placed already. So kind of my preliminary rough sketch. But we just finished the sky, and now we are working on the trees in the background here. Oh, thank you. It does a little bit. Like certain sections do. Alright, so there's that tree. So we'll let those set up. I don't think these are going to need a second layer. Because, I mean, I've got it pretty tightly packed in there. Alright, so we have two trees over here that we're going to work on. Alright, so we're going to zoom that in just a little bit. So the camera's going to get a little weird here for a second, because of how I have to zoom it. Alright. So, let's get our glue. Actually, I need to unclog my glue bottle. It's been pretty good about not clogging. Alright, there we go. That should help a little bit. But, yeah, so we've did little paper circles up here, just little twists on top of themselves. This is just like paper snakes that we did, just smushed the tree leaves into position in there. We still have to do some work on this tree. I was just kind of rushing to get the base of the tree in last week so that we could get the sky put in around it. But there's actually some shading I want to do on this tree and some highlights. So we will be working on that here. Probably when we get to the rest of the tree. I'm not quite ready to do that just yet. And just spreading our tacky glue around here. I try not to get my earbud wire caught on my desk. Alright, so I know we still have some stuff in there poking through, and that's fine. We're going to take care of that in a minute when we get to the shrub line. Okay, so I'm going to rinse the glue out of my brush just in a cup of water. Don't use a good cup. Use a cup that you don't care about. So nothing that you would be reusing for food, because you are rinsing a brush that had glue in it. It's tacky glue, it's water-based glue, but still I wouldn't reuse that for food. I would assign that as an art supply cup. I would deem that no longer usable for anything else aside from art stuff. Okay. We'll start smushing in the next tree. And again, I'm just tearing my small squares into smaller pieces just to make them a little bit easier to handle. Because I've tried just tossing the whole square in there, and it soaks up a little more of the glue than I wanted. Oh. I mean, it's not a huge deal, but you know, we'll just have to, might just have to apply some more glue if that happens. It feels like you don't have enough for the next pieces coming in. All right. So we will smush this around. And get that worked in there. And you know, you can move it around till it's the desired fluffiness or wrinkliness that you want it to be. It is your project, so if you decide to join in, And if you do decide to do this, let me know. Message me on Twitter. Or link me to photos of what you're doing on Twitter. It's just at NiseyBGN. I don't have an Instagram. I probably should do one. Been thinking about it. But then again, it's another account that I have to maintain. In an already busy time, so maybe one day, if I'm not quite so busy with WoW challenges, we'll finally get the Instagram going. But we'll see. Alrighty. Yeah, definitely like doing this smushy stuff. Number one, it's a lot faster than like the circles. Don't know if it's quite faster than the paper snakes. It might be a little bit faster. Maybe. Let's grab a couple more. So we might need to add a little bit more glue in this section here, just because it's getting harder to smush. So I mean, you do want a little bit of glue down, because you do want the paper to get a little bit saturated with glue. I can feel the glue moving down the bottle. There we go. You just don't want to completely overdo it, because then it'll be glue-a-palooza everywhere. Now, if your toothpick or your stylus or your paperclip, whatever you're using to smush your paper around, gets a bit overloaded with some glue on it, you're going to want to wipe that off, because then it's going to stick to the next pieces that you go to put down. And that could get a little problematic, because then it'll start to attach itself to the pieces you're trying to smush, and then like ripping it back up. So don't really want to do that. That could be a bit frustrating, so. And don't want you to be frustrated. Alright, so let's work on getting our other color smushed in here. Before the section starts to dry on us. So the ones on the edges can be a little bit fussy and might need a little extra patience to get them smushed into position. Especially if you're kind of on the curve there of the edge of the canvas, so don't get frustrated, just take your time. If you need more glue, you can apply more glue. Okay. So don't forget, you can put on whatever music you want to listen to. And just kind of zone out. You know, whatever music's gonna make you happy, that you enjoy listening to. Viewer's choice, if it you will, sort of thing. So we're probably going to need to add a little bit more glue to this guy. Maybe. We'll see. We will see. I was just wiping the glue off. I have a when I'm doing this, I have a habit of wiping the glue off on my opposite hand. It's tacky glue, so it's not like it's gonna really hurt me, but it's just more convenient than a rag nearby, I guess. For me. And I was totally one of the kids that would take like the bottle of Elmer's glue and put it on my fingers and then watch it dry and then peel it off when I was little, so I'm not afraid to get messy. In fact, that's kind of the fun of it, is getting messy to a degree. Depends on what I'm working with. The oil paints, I don't like getting messy with those, because those are a pain to get off, and some of them are probably not things that you want on your skin with the oil paint, but you know, acrylic paint that, you know, it's water-based, it'll wash off. I'm okay with that. That's fine. That's not a huge deal. Just the oil paints, they feel funny. I don't like getting them on me at all. Okay. We are almost done the trees. Well, the tree line in the background. Let's be a little more precise. We still have this tree to finish. But I'm not going to be finishing him just yet. Don't think I'm quite ready to finish him yet. I think next we will be starting this shrub line. I gotta figure out what the heck is for dinner tonight. I have no idea. It really depends on what I feel up to dealing with when I get done. I do have a crappy frozen pizza in the freezer that I probably should use just to get it out of there. And I don't really feel like bothering with anything tonight, so probably what dinner is gonna be. Okay. Where am I gonna stick this little guy in here? Alright, that looks pretty good. Oh yeah. I'm doing good. Okay. Alright, so we're gonna come back to our shrub line. I guess, where are we gonna put this? I guess there. So we need to start work on this section. So let's take a look at what color greens we have for this section. So we haven't really used this green yet. So we've used those. And that's our purples. More of our purples. Okay. And we have this. This color is also going to be brought down into the grass, so I think we'll go with these two. So what I think we're going to do, we're going to kind of mix them together a little bit. As we go along. Clean off the top of the glue bottle so it doesn't get too funky. Okay. I will say it is getting hot in our room. least I'm hot. So we're gonna try to do like Bob says and work on one shrubbery at a time here. So I'm not exactly going over the side too much. But I'm trying to at least get the curve edge there. Now you know, we could add some little tiny flowers to these bushes too, but we'll see. We'll see. We could do some little tiny colored dots of flowers. All right. So let's start our shrubbery. That is some bright, bright shrubbery. Don't have that many different colored green options though. And this is a very green heavy piece. Actually, a lot of Bob's stuff is no. A lot of Bob's stuff is kind of green heavy. I mean, well, it is landscape, so it's gonna have some green to it, but very many shades of green. So we will see how this goes. The first time I've really tried mixing the colors on the smooshy phase. So we'll see how it looks. Yeah, I'm really happy with the trees up in here. That looks fairly good. I'm actually wondering if we need to bring some of that dark green down in. Like, do we need to make this a tricolor shrubbery? But at the same time, it's like, don't know if I want to do that. If we do, we're gonna have to try to keep the darker green down at the bottom. But you know what? I think it'll be okay without the darker green. Because I do want the color separation here between this section and this section. And again, you could just make this all one solid color if that's what you want. If you attempt to do this, just trying to give it a little bit more variation. With the different greens here. Hopefully I'm not creating more work for myself than I needed, but we'll see. Alright. So I'm not really going for speed here, as you can tell, since we are on part 6 of this project, but I don't really want to go for speed. I want to do what I want to do, and it's gonna take as long as it's gonna take, you know? I'm not sure if this is a project that you can speed through. I mean, maybe. But you would have to have like everything prepped and ready to go. And it's kind of hard to get your, like, you can get the paper snakes prepped ahead of time. Kind of hard to get the circles prepped ahead of time, though. Unless you, you would probably have to pre-glue them in their circular form. Put it that way. So, I mean, it's not really gonna save much time. If anything, that might add more time, because then you have to do that much more pre-project prep. As it were. Do 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 do. Alrighty. Oh, I can't grab it. There we go. I just wanted to stay where it was. I think that is doing what I wanted to do, which was push the trees back. So that's good. And there's no rhyme or reason to me putting the shades of green in where I am. I'm just kind of whatever I grab is what I grab. I'm trying not to have too much of one color in one spot, but I think as I get lower on the bush, we might do some darker or less of the lighter color. I don't know yet. We'll see. Another little green section. So this section will probably be a bit time consuming as you try to figure out where you want to place your shading. And this is definitely more time consuming than just painting with actual paint, but it's also kind of fun doing something different. And while I did put on one of the tags that we were doing traditional art in the sense of it's not digital art, it's not exactly traditional to create something this way, I don't think. I mean, like, I know some artists will use tissue paper to add texture to their regular paintings, or they'll use like the bleeding tissue paper to get like a soft background, but I would rather just use watercolor, honestly. It's kind of the same thing, sort of, but to each their own. To each their own. So we probably will end up needing to add a little bit more glue in this section here. And that's okay. Probably going to need to, depending on how much glue you've put down, how thin it was. Because like I said earlier, you don't want a super thin layer of glue. It's not gonna smush right if you don't. And then it's gonna dry too fast on you. Like, I can see in here where this is drying already. And dry time is just gonna factor on, again, how thick your glue is and the temperature of the room that you're working in. So you may need to work in smaller chunks. And that's more than fine too. Again, we're just kind of smushing. Tucking and smushing. That's all it is in this section. just to give it like a fluffy, leafy texture. Just getting some of the glue buildup off of my stylus. Okay. Sorry, I'm hearing a song on my playlist that I don't remember putting there. What is this? Oh, that's what it is. Okay. Not a song that I'm familiar with. That is fine. There's gonna be songs I'm not familiar with. Okay. Yeah, we're probably gonna need to do a little bit more glue in here, I think. Alright guys, give me 1 second. I will be right back. I need to get a drink. Okay, sorry about that. It suddenly got very, very obnoxiously warm in our room. And I had to check with the husband. I'm like, are you hot? 'Cause I'm so hot I don't feel well. And I just wanted to make sure it wasn't me. I mean, I might be running hot anyway. I have been lately. Hormones and all that. But it was getting like I was starting to, my legs were sweating. I was getting so warm. I'm like, what is going on? So we're just gonna freshen up that. And if you see any tissue paper go flying across the screen, I had to have him put some fans on. And I've got one fan partially pointed at me, so the fan might take some of the tissue paper. Hopefully it doesn't. Just drying my glue brush. Try to use the same messed up brush for all of my gluing it needs, so that way I don't ruin all of my brushes. So yeah, sorry, there's probably fan noise in the background. I can't help it. It's hot in here. And he was noticing how hot it was getting, and it was starting to make him anxious, and I was getting so hot, I was starting to get upset and feel even worse, so I'm like, what's happening? Our room likes to stay super, super cold in the winter. And in the spring and summer, our room likes to get really, really hot, really, really fast. But I just checked the temperature. It's 70 Fahrenheit out, so it's not overly warm, but it's a little warm outside. And so with both computers running, I've got my big dome art light. It's not too hot, like I can touch the dome on it, but I'm sure it's not helping, and we don't have our door open to our porch, so because then the traffic noise would just be unbearable, like you wouldn't really be able to hear me for anything. So it gets a little extra toasty in here because we only have one window we can open on the side, and even then the traffic noise is kind of obnoxious through that, so but it's not quite consistently hot enough yet to put the window AC in, because once we put it in, even if it's like barely warm out, I'm gonna have to run it because I won't be able to open that window, because we really only have the one window in our room that likes to open. We're not quite sure what's with the other two windows in our room. We kind of have them blocked by our desks because we can't open them. We don't know if they got severely painted shut over the years, or if they got nailed shut for some effing reason. We don't know. But these windows are so old that it's really thin glass, and we kind of don't want to mess with it too hard because we don't really have the money to replace the glass or the entire window. So older house. I've seen 2 different dates now on when this house was possibly built. I think the mother-in-law was saying 1921. I've seen 1926 as well. This house is old, no matter how you look at it. So, some of the windows still have ropes in the sashes that you can see for controlling the lower window, like to hold it up, like for raising it and stuff. So it's an older house for sure. And older houses have more fun and surprises, so to speak. So his mom kind of got it for fairly cheap. Housing used to be a lot cheaper in this area than it is now. And it's not just the pandemic, it was going up before the pandemic. I don't know why, but suddenly everybody wanted to move to the quaint farm community because it was just, such old town, like Barney Fife, Mayberry feels, and everybody wanted that. And I'm like, okay guys, let's evaluate this. If everybody wants that and everybody moves here, you're not gonna have that small town feel for very long. Like, it's just how it's gonna be. And so over the past couple of years, even before the pandemic, housing prices here were going up, and they just couldn't add on to the subdivisions that were around here fast enough. And it's crazy because all you see on some of the local Facebook pages that the residents started is, I'm looking for this in this dollar range, and people are just laughing at them. They're like, yeah, good luck with that, because that price range doesn't exist, not anymore. Like, his mom got this place, I think, under 50,000, we'll say. I'm seeing possible estimates now of like 120,000 on this property, and I'm like, you're kidding, right? Because there's a lot of shit that needs to be worked on this property. There's no way. But looks like the husband swapped the cats back around. I'm not entirely sure why. Because the other cat hadn't been out of her room for a while. Like, she hadn't been out that long. But I also don't know where he's planning on sleeping tonight, so that could have been why he swapped. Alright, so I'm not going to fuss too much with this edging in here, because we're going to have, our grass that's going to come in. So that's okay. That can be a little off. That's fine. Alright. Now, we're going to move into the next section of bushes in here. You swapped the cats?
Yes, I did.
How come?
Because Cal was non-stop.
Oh.
Eileen else we need to go to? Sonic, do you want anything? I've seen a slushie.
Is this dinner or?
I presume so.
What you want?
A slushie.
Pretzel?
I want a popcorn chicken tonight.
Popcorn? You hate it every time I get it. Every time.
Then 2 French toast sticks, because one's not enough. Because I really don't feel like cooking dinner tonight. Alright. So now we'll work on this bushy section. So like a lot of this is time. It is pretty time heavy. Doing it this way. Have a piece of cat fur that blew into the glue. Yay. I don't think I can get it out either. I might be able to. Try my brush. I just have a little piece of paper towel. I'm drying it on. I've been using the same piece of paper towel for like 4 weeks now. Between a couple different projects. Here we go. Actually, that might have been a piece of my hair that I'm looking at it. It had a blue tinge to it, so I guess it was mine. Based off of my current hair color. Yeah, I guess the slushy in too. Okay. Alright. So. At least we got the sky done. We can say we did finish that part of the project this week. So we do have that going for us. Very much so. Yeah, I think it's probably the better choice not to bring the darker green in on the shrubbery. Just because I think it would melt into these evergreens a little too much. It would probably be a little weird. So I think I'm happy with this color selection. Nope, no. Turn that way. Like I said, sometimes the paper has a mind of its own. Sometimes it's easy to communicate with it, and other times it's like, nah, I'm gonna do my own thing. I'm also trying to make sure that the fan doesn't carry away all my little torn paper bits. It's like, no, don't do that. It does feel a little better in here now with the fans running, so. And one of the fans pointed at me. I'm not overheating quite so badly, so. So sorry for the fan noise, but it's either fan noise or a melted puddle of Nisey, and melted puddle of Nisey is not going to do anybody any good whatsoever. Okay. So just kind of working this in here. Of course, now that I have the fan running, the glue's gonna dry a lot faster, so probably gonna have to apply a bit more to this. Now, I would recommend using not your fingers for this section just because it's gonna be tough to get all of the wrinkles and things that you're really looking for to really give it some foliage life. So I'm gonna recommend like a kitchen barbecue shish kebab skewer, or a paper clip that you unbend the little arm out of, or a toothpick. Just to be able to get these little crevices and stuff smushed in here. I'm using a stylus that I got from the dollar store. That works too. And since it's from the dollar store, I don't mind getting glue on it because it was from the dollar store, and I'm okay if it gets messy because I didn't invest a whole ton of money into it. So that's okay. So yeah, probably gonna need another shot of glue right here. In this bottom section, I should probably work in the section where the glue is still wet, but oh well. So with the fan running, I wasn't sure if I had actually dropped the little piece that I tore off, or if it was still stuck to my finger. Kind of blended in there. Alrighty. So, you guys getting excited? I'm getting excited because we are making measurable progress. We probably won't get done the shrub line today. and that's okay. It's a-okay to not get that done today. Sorry, there's a little piece of like laminate stripping that broke off on the edge of my desk last night that refused to be reattached. So I just snipped it off, and then the other side of it is starting to come up, and my earbud wire is getting caught in it. And so every time I go to pick my head up, it feels like my earbuds are trying to rip out of my ears. Not a fun sensation. Not at all. I have to find my roll of painter's tape. Don't know where it went. I cleaned and lost everything's location. It might be in the drawer next to me. I hope that's where it is. I'm gonna have to investigate when we get done here, so that I can get some tape on that, because I really don't want to rip my earbuds out of my ears constantly throughout the stream. I do that enough on a daily basis anyway. So I'd just rather not. I'd rather not do that. Yeah, we probably got a little ambitious there on the amount of glue that we put down with the fan running. I forgot that the fan was pointed in a way that it was going to hit this. But that's okay. Do you know why it's okay? Say it with me. We can put more glue down. It's gonna be alright. Definitely gonna be okay. Yeah, this is starting to get a little too dry. So let's throw in my stylus. Get a little bit more glue down here. Just to freshen up that section there. Rinse out the brush. Again, we don't want to leave the glue sitting in the brush, because then we'll have a brush that we won't be able to use anymore, and then we'll have to destroy another brush, and I'd rather not. I'd rather make sure that we get our full extent money's worth out of that one before we go and destroy another one. And we probably have gotten some pretty great mileage out of that brush, because I'm thinking that was a cheaper brush. Might have been out of a pack of brushes. And I think that brush might be about, oh, I don't know, 15 years old in my possession. Had it a while. And looking at the handle, it's definitely seen some things. Most definitely. Because one of the trips that we had to take back to New Jersey, I managed to find my box of brushes that had gotten left behind when we moved. So that made me happy, because brushes aren't cheap. I mean, sometimes you can find a sale where they're like 50% off, like the multi-packs and stuff, but even then, like Arteza has some new paintbrushes that I really want, but I think I'm just addicted to collecting paintbrushes at this point because I don't really need any. I want them bad, but they're not cheap enough for me to just be like, yeah, let's get them. So I think my new obsession is collecting paintbrushes. But it really needs to not be. Because them guys are expensive. Especially the single brushes. Those guys are a lot. Probably grabbed too much tissue paper just then. But that's alright. We can just shove it back in its container. Alright. So I got some. I'm listening to Lindsay Sterling in my ears. You guys, I hope, aren't listening to it through stream. I think I've got desktop audio turned off, hopefully. Again, I don't want to get my ass in trouble. It's the last thing I need right now. Alright. So, smushy, smushy, smushy. And, yeah, so we are...
Don't we just put a sign out there?
Yeah, just, I guess, sit it on the stove or something. Is it raining?
No, not yet.
Oh, you were squeaking, so... Husband's shoes were squeaking away. I thought maybe it had started. Alright. So I think once we get done this bush, we'll end up calling it a day. We still have a ways to go on this project. Next week, we will more more than likely get the hedge line wrapped up, along with starting the cabin, I think. Sounds like a plan. And that will give me some time to get some of the prep done on the colors needed for the cabin. And that will also give me a chance to get some prep done on the colors for the tree. I need to get the highlight colors turned into paper snakes and all that. Now, tomorrow night is the WoW Challenges podcast. There is a show this week. I'm supposed to be co-hosting with Lita this week. So, that should be all sorts of fun. That's always a good time. If I can get my brain to stay focused on what we're talking about. But, yeah. Actually, I don't really know what we're talking about this week. I think it's going to be a surprise. Okay, that actually looks really good in the camera with the different lights and darks playing off of each other. It's hard for me to get a good grasp of it because I'm right up on top of it. And it's still wet, so I'm still seeing some of the glue peeking through the different folds of the tissue paper here. This is starting to really come together, I think, at least. Alright, so yeah, I think that's gonna do it for today. So, we've made some good progress today. We finished off the sky. So we finished off these sections in here. We got our double layers in place. We touched up a couple sections that kind of felt like it needed a second layer still. And then we got our 1, 2, 3, 4. We got our 5 trees into place that were missing, that weren't finished yet. And we've gotten started on our hedge line to kind of push the trees back, and I think that is working. I think it is pushing them back, so I'm really happy with that. Next week we will work on finishing up our hedge and probably the cabin, so that's all sorts of fun and excitement. So thank you guys for popping in. I do greatly appreciate it. It does mean a lot to me. So hopefully you had fun, and I appreciate your time. Even if it was just a quick in and out, it still means something to me. So you guys have a great night. I hope to see some of you at the WoW Challenges podcast tomorrow evening. That's going to be at 7 p.m. Eastern on their Twitch page, which is just WoW Challenges. And we'll see what stream week brings next week. I'm not sure if we're doing Bloodthirsty on Wednesday. It will depend on how well the weather cooperates for me to get the Bloodthirsties ready for Wednesday and what the weather's doing on Wednesday itself. Because like I said, we're entering a 2-week forecast of nothing but straight thunderstorms. We'll see. We'll see. So thanks again, you guys. You guys have a good weekend. Stay safe. Have fun. I'll see you next week. And have a good one.